Hello everyone and welcome back to Southern World. I hope you guys are doing very well. If you do enjoy the content, please consider dropping that a like and subscribe. As you guys know, that greatly helps the channel. So in the past video, we talked about how volatile things were going to be until the 2nd of April, which is when the tariffs come in effect. So we are aware that any pump is not to be very much trusted, and any dump is also not to be very much trusted. Now, the good thing is the more we step into April and we start quarter two next week, if you can believe that, is that the liquidity conditions that have improved massively in the first quarter should now start to be felt. And every week that goes by, it will be more and more felt. So today, PCE, which is Fed's favorite inflation metric, came out as at 2.8%. Should you pay much attention to it? Look, I've seen it come softer and then CPI comes worse. I've seen CPI come better and then PCE comes worse. So I still think CPI is the most important number. I mean, I don't care what the Fed necessarily says. If you see the impact in the markets, usually CPI followed by PPI have much more impact than PCE. And one of the things that we were witnessing also at the same time, because nobody paid much attention, was that France CPI and Spanish CPI came actually substantially better than expected. The same thing in the UK as well, I believe last week. So I wouldn't be surprised if we have a nice CPI once again in April, particularly as gas costs are at 4-year low. Shelter was also coming down, and the price of eggs, which was skewing everything to the upside, has collapsed 60%. But that was mostly in March. So let's see the impact of those items in April. I get the feeling that everybody is lingering and hoping to get to the 2nd of April just to have some sort of clarity so we can start to move on. I think this permanent level of uncertainty is not great, but to me the most important thing is liquidity and financial conditions. One of the things that I like to see, because I was getting concerned, was that TLT seemed to try to break a very important level, I think in the 20-day EMA, and it was failing. But today has brought us pretty much above that level once again. So that's a very key, crucial moving average that we managed to go up into. We also retested, I think, the 50-day or 50-weekly on the dollar, and we sold off as we tried to break above it. Now, break above it would be bullish for the dollar, which would be bad for us. We tried to go above it, and we failed for the time being. So it's not a clean cut yet, but what I'm trying to say is that the two key components, the dollar coming down and TLT going up, is pretty much still on the table with the end of this week, which is very positive from a macro perspective, because at the moment we are slaves to the market, to the macro conditions, and to start seeing those developments is actually quite bullish and quite interesting. So as you guys know, I'm always looking into that more so than, is Friday up, is Thursday down, is Tuesday up. These things are more important because they move all the markets. Liquidity is starting to really ramp up in China and in Europe as well, and in the US as well, despite the Fed's stance about rates. June will be a very important time period because a lot of the debt will need to be refinanced. What I think you may end up with is a rollover of 1 to 2 years, which means bigger deficit spending to cover for the interest expense. And then when rates really come down, refinance a little bit more towards the longer tenors. If you find, if you get a 10-year to 2.5% or something like that over the next couple of years. That's my feeling. It's just my speculation. Can be completely wrong. I don't see how you can cut rates so dramatically between now and June, particularly when a lot of the bad news are already priced in. So obviously stocks suffered, crypto suffered quite a bit. Bitcoin's around 84K, but Ethereum is really a disaster. It's at 1,880. It's a disaster. I mean, there's nothing we can say. It's been truly the big surprise to me in this cycle on the negative side. Yes, Ethereum has been out for a while. Yes, we are aware that Ethereum couldn't have the same returns that it used to be with 60x and 100x and 5,000x as it used to make. But I thought, and I still think, that Ethereum has a very good potential to get to 25K or close that by the end of the cycle. Now that seems completely impossible. And to be honest, the price action we've been seeing in this cycle proves the vast majority of Bitcoin maxis correct. A lot of people start crypto in the altcoins, and with time, they all become Bitcoin maxis. And you can see why. I have a feeling for the next cycle, by the way, just funny feeling, that I think Ethereum and altcoins will do substantially better than people think during the bear market. And the reason is, I can already tell. When the bear market comes and the recovery year, so basically you have, let's say bear market starts somewhere 2026, lasts into 2027. So let's say, that time period, plus the year that follows, I think altcoins will do better than most people think. And I will tell you why. It's because I see everybody talking about, next cycle, I only touch Bitcoin, I don't give a shit about anything else, altcoins are finished, blah, 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 all of this kind of stuff. So that tells me that everybody, all the non-believers, will position in Bitcoin, which leads me to believe that the altcoins will do better because you'll be left with the true believers only. Basically, all the other ones have left. So we'll see. Look, this is just, the prices are very subdued. The prices are very depressed. Everybody's angry. Everybody's predicting the bear market. Everybody's upset. So we have to have some fun, huh? We have to find ways to kind of entertain ourselves as we wait for the conditions to position as they should. Now, can it be beginning of April? Can it be mid-April? Who knows? So we need to have a look. To me, the question is always the same. Are things cheap? Yes. Am I planning on selling cheap? No. Have we seen euphoria in altcoins and all this craziness? No. So to me, that's what's guiding me more, rather than, is this week green? Is that week red? Is the next 5 days green? What did Trump say? What did Trump didn't say? Did Trump change his mind? I mean, that to me is all more, short-term noise. That usually what ends up happening is you fast forward to 2027, and then you look back into this quarter, and you see, it was difficult, blah, 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 and but after 10 seconds, you can barely remember what really happened. And this is happening every single cycle. So in which people just forget. It's a little bit like getting a tattoo when it's very, when for people that really hurts, they take like 4 or 5 years to forget, and then they forget. I mean, for women, I've heard, I cannot comment, but it's a little bit with childbirth, right? Which they, after 3 years or so, they forget. So that's why they end up having more kids. It's the same with us. I get like, for example, 2017. If you go to anybody, doesn't matter who it is, and you talk about 2017 is viewed as the golden year of crypto. It's like the most brilliant, the Valhalla, the promised land of crypto. 2017, Bitcoin had 28 to 35% corrections throughout 2017. And altcoins corrected 65 to 85% in 2017 alone. Yet people completely forgot. People just remember the couple of months of altcoin season 1, which lasted April and May, of 2017, and then they remember part of November, December, and 17, and January 2018. That's it. All the rest, so January 2017, June 2017, July 2017, August, it's completely forgotten. To them, all the correction periods is a complete mirage. It never existed, which is quite funny. But if you actually go back in time and you had, pretty nasty corrections throughout that time period, and that is considered the golden year of crypto. So I think we are we in the same cycle? No, we are in a more difficult cycle. As I've mentioned before, we've talked about this ad nauseum here. The cycles will become tougher and will become less apparent, and only really projects with true communities will end up surviving. A lot will have shelf lives of hours, days, months, and that's about it. All the pump fund stuff that you see, that lasts sometimes minutes, not even hours. So that's what we're waiting. We're waiting for the improvements that happened at macro level, with the global M2 increasing dramatically, plus the easing of financial conditions, with the dollar coming down in the first quarter plus the bond market. It should be reflected in the price of risk assets imminently. As I've said, April 2nd marks a very important date, so it's something we need to keep in mind. See what happens. Volatility is to be expected, in my opinion. I get the feeling that things will be better than what most people think, since they've already priced in the worst possible scenarios have already been priced in. So I do expect to see some relief in the weeks following that decision. And in the meantime, we have to wait. We have to pay attention. In the beginning of April, the ISM will come out. It would be nice to be above 50, or if it's not above 50, at least very close to 50. We don't want to see 47, 46. We want to see at least 49 something minimum, ideally above 50. That would be very good. A lot of imports, which is showing the GDP going down in the US, at least in the first quarter, is mostly driven by gold imports. My conspiracy theory, and I've named it conspiracy theory because I have no evidence of this, is I get the feeling that some people are very concerned about the potential gold reserve audit that will be coming over the next few months. And I'm getting the feeling that they're trying to replenish all the gold as much as possible. Plus, I think there's a lot of people trying to get gold out of Europe, because there are some laws being proposed and passed in Europe while everybody's distracted, which are very, very scary. Let's leave that for a different video. But in any case, the weekend is here. We are playing the waiting game. It's boring. It's saddening. There's no way we can see we're ever going to have a bull run ever again in our lifetime. This is every single time the same. But for example, even in the case of Ethereum, which has been the worst performing that I've ever remembered, if you go on chain and you see who's buying Ethereum, it's basically big whales are accumulating Ethereum at record pace. Who's selling? Usually small wallets, newer wallets, steal some money from the previous hacks, all of that. So you're not really seeing massive whales getting out. You're seeing the small money, the retail, whatever's left of it, exiting, and you see the big whales on chain accumulating quite a bit. They tend to make the right decisions. Are they making the right decision or drinking the Kool-Aid? That's up to you to decide. That's up to you to judge. That's up to you to make an assessment of what is more likely. And with that, enjoy your weekend. Don't forget, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.